From the Oklahoma newsroom, this is an OU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Ryan Aber. Ryan, quite a game on Saturday down in Baton Rouge. You were there to witness it as the Sooners withstand LSU and their crowd and all the things that were going on down there. For you, when you watched that game, what stood out to you? What's the takeaway in your mind?
Well, I think the most impressive thing is what they did to Ben Simmons down the stretch. In the last 10 minutes, Simmons had only one shot from the field. He didn't make it. He virtually disappeared from this game after being not a dominant force in the scoring realm, but the way that their offense moved from inside out early in that game to create space on the perimeter for LSU to hit so many of those threes is what got the Tigers ahead in the first place, and that completely changed. Ryan Spangler, especially in Kadeem Latin in a secondary role against Simmons, did a fantastic job down the stretch in that game, giving their shooters like Buddy Hield and Isaiah Cousins a chance to get them back in the game.
Well, you saw Simmons heating up, and then the Sooners defensively just kind of backed that off, shut that down to allow their guys to really flourish. Is the ability to have some great defensive performance, is that a little overlooked on this team?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think it's because of just how good their offense is and their offense can be. I mean, with their guards, you know, 3 guards who can consistently knock it down at a better than 45% clip. Really, for most of those guys, a better than 50% clip from behind the arc. That's very much gets overlooked in this team. Their ability to get stops at key times. They were really good defensively early in the season. That regressed a little bit, but now they're getting back into that. Ryan Spangler told me that Lou Hill got into their ear midway through the second half. They're down by 10. It says, we need a kill here, which for OU is 3 consecutive stops. They'd already had 1. They got 2 more out of that. That didn't make a dent in the LSU lead. They were still up by 10 at the end of that when Simmons got a tip in that proved to be his last basket of the game. But it set the tone for them defensively. They had 2 more kills really late in that game that allowed them to come out with a win, and just a very impressive performance overall.
We'll come back to defense in just a second, but let's talk Buddy Hield before we get off this game entirely, because at this point, Ryan, it seems to me like he's the player of the year, and it's his to lose. I mean, it would really take something unexpected for him not to be the national player of the year at this point.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That performance in that game with his main competition, Ben Simmons, on the other side, and him clearly outperforming Simmons. I mean, everybody in the nation got a look at what Buddy Hield is really this season. I would say when he's on, but he's been on this whole year. I mean, for him to hit those kind of shots that consistently has just been phenomenal this season. And it's gotten to the point, I can't remember who said this, I wish I could to give him credit, but I think it was one of the other guys on the beat, said that at this point it's not just when Buddy Hield makes a shot that the other crowd gasps and holds their breath a little bit. It's when he takes a shot, because you almost know it's going in.
Yeah, you definitely do. And he got some great endorsements, not from anybody that'll vote for Player of the Year, but guys like Chris Paul, Chandler Parsons, guys who really know how to play basketball, giving their props to Buddy Hield during that game. It was impressive. Okay, back to the defense for a second, because that game ends on a great defensive play by Kadeem Latin, a guy that continues to be really good defensively, but really good overall for the Sooners. Now they get ready for a Tuesday night game against TCU. And an interesting aspect of Kadeem Latin that isn't really talked about much, he was homeschooled. Yeah,
he went to homeschool down in the Houston area. His mother, Monica Lamb, was a WNBA star. He's a John Lucas guy, mentored by John Lucas. His mom and Lucas are really close. And he went to homeschool down there, and he's facing a homeschool guy that a lot of people in this area are familiar with, Chauncey Collins, who starred with the Oklahoma City Storm and was the Oklahoman Super 5 Player of the Year a couple years ago, and he's been really good for TCU. So this will be a fun matchup of 2 guys who are homeschooled and a homecoming for one of them.
Yeah, and that's a 7 o'clock tip on Tuesday night. Don't believe it's sold out?
Not yet. This is your only chance to this point to see Oklahoma at Lloyd Noble Center the rest of the year. Every other game is sold out the rest of the way.
If you don't have tickets for any other game, get on down to Norman. Check these Sooners out. They're playing some great basketball. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.